My stepsister took down every picture of my late mother and me from my dad's house. Can you imagine someone systematically erasing your entire childhood, every single memory of your deceased mother from your family home? What if that someone was your own stepsister and your own father let it happen? I finally found a way to make everyone see the brutal truth, and it all started with a single photo album at his 60th birthday. It began subtly, almost innocently. My dad remarried when I was 19, already out on my own. 6 years after my mom passed, I was genuinely happy he'd found someone. Gloria seemed sweet, and her daughter, Waverly, was 2 years younger than me. I tried to be welcoming, I really did. Blending families is hard, right? But Waverly? She made it clear from day one she wanted nothing to do with me. At family dinners, she'd talk over me, correct me even when I was right. She'd make pointed comments about finally having a father figure since her own dad left early. It was like she thought my dad was hers now, and I was just some ghost from his past who occasionally dropped by. Since I didn't live at home anymore, I told myself it didn't matter. I'd visit every few weeks, plaster on a smile, and focus on my dad. He was happy with Gloria, and that was what truly mattered. I could tolerate an annoying stepsister for a few hours. Then I noticed the photos. My dad's house used to be a living museum of my life. School pictures lined the hallway. My graduation photo proudly on the mantel. Candid shots of me and dad fishing, camping, celebrating birthdays. Pictures of my mom, vibrant and alive before she got sick. These weren't just decorations. They were part of the house, part of me. The first time I saw it, I thought I was mistaken. 2 of my school photos were just gone. I asked Dad. He looked confused, mumbled something about Gloria redecorating. I found them, stuffed into a box in the garage, and put them back myself. A month later, gone again. And this time, 3 more photos had disappeared, including my graduation picture and 2 precious ones of my mom. I found them in the same box, like trash. I confronted my dad directly. He said he didn't know what was happening, but he'd talked to Gloria. Nothing changed. Every single visit, more photos vanished. The fishing trip memories, the camping adventures, my 5th birthday party, my first day of school. One by one, my entire childhood was being systematically erased from the walls of my father's house. Meanwhile, Waverly's face started appearing everywhere. Her senior portraits replaced mine in the hallway. Her college acceptance celebration took the mantel spot. Her childhood pictures filled frames that used to hold images of me and my mom. The house I grew up in was becoming a shrine to someone who'd lived there for less than 2 years. I knew it was Waverly. Gloria was too gentle, too soft-spoken for something so deliberately cruel. And my dad? He was too oblivious to notice the gradual changes. Waverly was methodically removing me, replacing me with herself. When I finally confronted her, she didn't even flinch. Didn't deny it. The house felt cluttered with old photos, she said, shrugging. It was weird for Mom to live surrounded by pictures of your dad's dead wife. My blood ran cold. You don't even live here anymore, so why do you need photos on the walls? My family lives here now. The house should reflect that. And my mom's photos? Oh, they're somewhere in the garage, she said, waving a dismissive hand. You can take them if you want. Nobody else needs them. That was it. I went to my dad, shaking with rage and hurt. I told him everything. How Waverly had been systematically removing every trace of me and my mother. How she'd admitted it to my face without an ounce of shame. I pleaded with him, begged him to do something. He looked away, uncomfortable. I don't want to cause drama with Gloria, he muttered. Waverly's young, still adjusting. Maybe you're being too sensitive about old photos. The past is the past. We all need to move forward as a new family. That's when it hit me, a sickening gut punch. My dad wasn't going to protect me. He was going to let Waverly erase me because it was easier than having a difficult conversation with his new wife. He was choosing her. Over me. Over Mom. So, I stopped waiting for him to fix things. I fixed them myself. First, I took back what was mine. Every single photo Waverly had tossed in the garage came home with me. I didn't ask permission. I loaded them into my car during a Sunday dinner while everyone was eating dessert. Waverly noticed. She came back inside, furious, demanding to know where everything went. I just looked at her. I took what nobody else wanted, I said, my voice ice cold. Since you made it clear those photos didn't belong in this house anymore. She complained to my dad and Gloria. My dad looked relieved. He didn't have to deal with it. Gloria looked uncomfortable, saying nothing. Waverly fumed, but she couldn't argue. She was the one who told me to take them. Then, I started being less available. I stopped answering his calls. The first time I let it go to voicemail. He sounded confused. The second call I texted back busy. By the fourth week, his messages sounded worried. Is everything okay? Did I do something wrong? I almost laughed. Almost. At work, I was a mess. Forgetting emails, scheduling meetings wrong. My friend Lana noticed. During lunch, she put her hand on my arm. What's going on? She asked. I tried to brush it off, but she gave me that look. So I told her. Everything. The disappearing photos, finding them like trash, Waverly's cruel admission, my dad's heartbreaking refusal to act. Lana's face got redder and redder. When I finished, she practically yelled, "That's cruel! Your dad should be ashamed." Hearing her get angry on my behalf made something tight in my chest finally loosen. "You're not overreacting," she insisted. "Anyone would be hurt." The next Saturday morning, I was still in my pajamas when there was a knock on my door. My dad. He looked awful, messy hair, dark circles. He asked to come in. I let him. "Why are you avoiding us?" he asked. I crossed my arms. "Because I can't keep coming over to watch Waverly erase me from your life while you stand by and let it happen." I told him it hurt too much to be in that house, seeing all my memories gone, replaced by someone who didn't want me there. He started the familiar excuses about Waverly, about blending families. I cut him off. She admitted it to my face, without guilt. She threw away pictures of my dead mother like they were garbage. And your refusal to do anything makes me feel like I don't matter anymore. Like you'd rather keep your new wife happy than protect my place in your life. My voice cracked, but I refused to cry. He looked like I'd slapped him. Pale. He sank onto my couch, put his head in his hands. A long minute passed. When he looked up, his eyes were wet. "I'm sorry," he whispered. I was trying to avoid conflict. I didn't realize how much damage I was causing. He promised he'd talk to Gloria seriously. This time, I sat down. "I've heard that promise before," I told him. "I need to see actual change, not just words. I need you to stand up for me and for Mom's memory." He nodded, understood. He asked for another chance. I didn't answer immediately. Finally, I just said, "I'll wait and see what you actually do." He hugged me, a long, tight hug like when I was a little girl and scared. After he left, I felt guilty, but also incredibly relieved. I called Evangeline. She came over with wine and chips, and I poured out everything. She listened, just listened, which is why I love her. "You did the right thing," she said. She suggested therapy. Losing Mom, feeling pushed out of Dad's life, it was complicated grief. She gave me a name, Dr. Sparks. The next week, I made the appointment. Nervous. Dr. Sparks, younger than I expected, with kind eyes. She asked what brought me in. And once I started talking, I couldn't stop. Mom dying. Dad remarrying. Waverly erasing me. Dad's in action. Dr. Sparks just listened, took notes, asked questions that made me think. By the end of the hour, I realized something painful. I'd been holding back so much anger, so much hurt, because I didn't want anyone to think I was against my dad's happiness. I was swallowing it all, pretending I was okay when I was absolutely not. Dr. Sparks helped me see that protecting my mother's memory and my place in the family wasn't selfish. It was healthy. It was necessary. I left feeling like someone had given me permission to stop pretending. I cried on the way home, but it was a different kind of crying. It was release. 2 weeks passed. No word from Dad. No calls. No texts. I kept checking my phone, hoping he'd prove me wrong. The silence was a stone in my chest. He wasn't going to fight for me. He was choosing the easy path. Then Gloria called. Not Dad, Gloria. Her voice was careful. She asked if I could meet for coffee. I agreed, curious, wary. Saturday morning. She looked nervous. She thanked me for meeting. Then she just started talking. Dad had finally explained everything about the photos. She was horrified. I didn't know it had gotten that bad, she confessed. She'd been so focused on making her new marriage work, keeping everyone happy. She'd missed what was happening. She apologized sincerely. She asked what she could do to fix things. I told her the truth. The photos were gone from Dad's house because I took them. They were in boxes in my closet on my walls. Even if we put them back, I couldn't trust they'd stay. Waverly would just remove them again. I wasn't willing to go through that cycle. Gloria nodded, understanding completely. She leaned in, her voice quieter. She told me Waverly had always struggled with jealousy, felt she had to compete. Losing her own father had made her desperate to claim mine. It didn't excuse the behavior, but it explained the root of it. She looked tired, like this was a lifelong battle. I asked the question that had burned in me. Were you bothered by my mom's photos? She shook her head immediately. No, she said firmly. I knew what I was marrying into. I never expected him to erase his past. I thought it was healthy he kept those memories visible. It showed he was capable of real love. She wasn't threatened by a woman who passed away years ago. We talked for over an hour. I saw Gloria as her own person, separate from her daughter's cruelty. She was trying. That effort mattered. Before we left, she mentioned Dad's 60th birthday coming up in 2 months. Party at the house. Would I come? I said I needed to think about it. We hugged in the parking lot. It felt good. Real. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about the party. I pulled out the boxes of photos, spread them across my floor. My 5th birthday, camping trips, my mom's laughing face, high school graduation. Every single memory Waverly had decided didn't matter. These weren't just old pictures. These were proof I existed. Proof Mom was real, loved, part of our story. An idea sparked. What if I made an album for his birthday? An album that told the whole story Waverly tried to erase? What if I gave him back all these memories in a way he couldn't ignore or let disappear again? I called Evangeline. Her voice got quiet. It's perfect, she said. It's not petty or mean. It's just showing the truth. She offered to help. That weekend, we spread photos across my living room, sorted them by year. My mom, Evangeline's mom, Lucille, even joined us sharing stories. Lucille had dealt with her own blended family drama, her ex-husband's new wife trying to erase her. She looked at me. Your dad needs to see what he's been allowing to disappear, she said. Hearing that from someone who understood made me feel validated. We worked and a plan solidified. The album had to be presented in front of everyone, so my dad couldn't brush it off. So the whole family could see what had been erased. I wasn't trying to embarrass, just to make sure people remembered I existed, that Mom existed. We chose a beautiful dark brown leather album with gold corners. Over the next few days, we arranged photos chronologically, writing captions. My 5th birthday with the homemade cake, first day of kindergarten, Mom before she got sick laughing. Each page was me refusing to be erased. It was healing. I wasn't asking permission anymore. I was fixing things myself. Dad called. I told him I was busy. I didn't mention the album. This needed to be a surprise. He needed to open it in front of everyone. Waverly texted me. Her mom told her she needed to apologize. Sorry if I felt hurt by what she did. It was so clearly forced. No actual acknowledgement of wrongdoing. Just sorry if I felt hurt, like my feelings were the problem. I stared at it, didn't respond. I was done with fake apologies. I deleted the message and went back to the album. 3 weeks before the party, Gloria texted, asking if I was coming. I confirmed, said I was bringing Evangeline for moral support. She sent a smiley face. I wondered if she knew what I was planning. Probably not. My next therapy session. I confessed I was second-guessing myself, afraid people would think I was causing drama, embarrassing Waverly. Dr. Sparks asked if that was my goal. No, I said, but there was a certain satisfaction in knowing Waverly would face this publicly. Is this about healing or revenge? She asked directly. I thought long and hard. Healing, I finally said. I need my dad to see what he's been allowing to disappear. That our past matters. She nodded. Making your presence visible isn't cruel. It's necessary. A few days later, Uncle Paul called. Dad's younger brother. I asked if he remembered all the photos. Of course, he said, joking about the shrine to your childhood. I took a deep breath. Have you noticed they're gone? Silence. He had noticed, but didn't want to bring it up. I explained everything. Waverly, the garage, Dad's in action. Paul was quiet for a long moment. Then his voice tight. I'm glad you're doing something. He admitted he'd worried Dad was erasing his past, and it had bothered him. He'd noticed I was coming around less. He was worried. Hearing that support made me feel stronger. I told him about the album. Perfect, he said. Sometimes people need to see the truth laid out clearly. 1 week before the party, Evangeline texted, album ready. We drove to the printer. I unwrapped it slowly. My breath caught. The leather cover, beautiful. I flipped through the pages. Crisp photos, perfectly placed. Captions telling my story, Mom included naturally. Perfect, Evangeline whispered. This was happening. That night, I sat at my kitchen table, the album open. I needed the perfect inscription. Sincere, loving. Not angry. After several drafts, I wrote, To Dad on your 60th birthday. A celebration of the family we've been and the memories we've built together. Love always. It was perfect. It was true. The truth about what had been removed. That would tell itself. I wrapped it carefully. Evangeline came over and we practiced. I needed to be gracious, warm. The photos would speak for themselves. She played the roles of various family members, even Waverly. Stay calm, she reminded me. The goal is meaningful. If it also shows what was erased, that's just the truth. The night before, I barely slept. Was this right? Too dramatic? Vindictive? Then I'd remember Waverly's casual cruelty. My dad's relief when I took the photos myself. Every time I lost my nerve, I remembered why. He needed to see it, publicly, because private conversations hadn't changed a thing. I deserved to exist. Mom deserved to be remembered. By morning, I was exhausted, but determined. Morning of the party. I chose a dress Mom loved. A simple blue one. I looked in the mirror. I looked like someone who belonged. Someone with every right to give a meaningful gift. Evangeline arrived, giving me a pep talk. Standing up for yourself with dignity isn't drama. I held the album in my lap as we drove. My heart hammered, but I was ready. I wasn't going to disappear, quietly. We pulled up. Balloons. A banner. Cars lining the street. The house packed. My stomach tightened. Evangeline parked, squeezed my hand. I grabbed the album, the paper crinkling. We walked up the driveway. Gloria opened the door, a huge smile. Pulled me into a hug. Vanilla. Soft sweater. She was so happy I came. The house was chaotic with people. I spotted aunts, uncles, cousins. Then Dad. He was talking to someone, but his eyes found mine. His whole face changed. He lit up. He crossed the room in 4 big steps, sweeping me into a hug that lifted me. He held on tight, breathed into my hair. I'm really glad you came, he whispered, his voice cracking. I hugged him back. Happy birthday. His eyes were shiny. Gloria took our coats. I stood, holding the album, taking it all in. Waverly's photos still dominated the walls. But today, with decorations everywhere, it was harder to focus on what was missing. I said hello to Gloria properly. She smiled, genuine. Waverly stood across the room, talking to someone. She glanced at me, but quickly looked away. Fine. I wasn't here for her. Evangeline came back, whispered, "You can do this." I nodded. Relatives came up, asking where I'd been hiding. About work, my apartment. Normal party small talk. I navigated it all, the album tucked under my arm. Nobody asked what it was. For the first hour, I just existed. Then Gloria announced cake time. Everyone moved into the living room. Dad sat in his armchair. Gloria brought out the cake. We sang. He blew out candles. Presents. Golf clubs for Dad from Gloria. Expensive whiskey from Waverly. Gift cards. Dad opened each slowly. Thanked everyone. The room was relaxed, happy. No one expected anything unusual. I waited until he'd opened everything. Then I stepped forward. The room got quieter. People noticed me. I held out the wrapped album. "I made something special," I said, my voice steady. Dad looked surprised, pleased. He took it carefully, peeled the tape slowly. Everyone watched. The room went silent. He got the paper off, opened the album cover. His face. I watched it. He stared at the first page. My inscription. He touched the words. Then he turned the page. His expression changed. Eyebrows pulled together. Mouth slightly open. He turned another and another. People started leaning in. My aunt moved closer. Uncle Paul stood. Quiet reactions. "Oh," someone whispered. A soft sound. Uncle Paul caught my eye, nodded. Slow, deliberate. He understood. Dad kept turning pages. His hands shook. Page after page. Me as a baby in Mom's arms. Me and Dad fishing. Mom, before she got sick, smiling. My 10th birthday. High school. Camping. Graduation. All of it. Everything that used to hang on these walls. Everything that had been erased. His eyes filled with tears. They spilled, ran down his cheeks. He didn't wipe them away. Just kept turning pages, crying silently. The whole room watched. Nobody spoke. Finally, he looked up at me. His face wet, voice broken. "I didn't realize how much was missing," he choked out, "until I saw it all together like this." I looked around. Faces changing. Gloria stood behind him, her hand on his shoulder. Her expression shifted from curious to something else, a dawning horror as she understood. Page after page of photos that used to hang in this house. She'd lived there for 2 years, oblivious. Her face went pale. She glanced at Waverly. Waverly. She'd moved back against the wall, trying to blend in. Arms crossed tight, staring at the floor. She wouldn't look at anyone. The room stayed quiet, save for Dad turning pages. People kept moving closer. My aunt leaned over Dad's shoulder. Uncle Paul stood beside him. Cousins crowded around. Everyone could see what I'd done. Every photo told a story about what this house used to be before Waverly decided I didn't belong. Dad closed the album carefully, set it on his lap. He stood, walked straight to me, pulled me into a hug, so tight I could barely breathe. "Thank you," he kept saying, over and over, against my hair. His voice cracked. He was shaking. He stepped back, but kept his hands on my shoulders. Turned to face everyone. Held up the album. "This is the best gift I've ever received," he said, his voice loud, clear. "I'm sorry I let these memories get put away. I didn't realize how much I'd lost until I saw it all together like this." He looked at Gloria, then at Waverly. Silence. Then Gabriella from the couch. "I've been wondering what happened to all the family photos." The house felt different, but I couldn't figure out why. Murmurs started. My cousin remembered the fishing pictures. My uncle, Mom's photos on the bookshelf. Everyone was looking at Waverly now. Her face went from pale to deep red. She kept her eyes down. The social pressure was thick. Gloria moved from Dad, walked to Waverly, put a hand on her arm, spoke quietly but everyone heard. "We need to talk later." Her voice had an edge I'd never heard. Firm. Serious. Not angry, but definitely not gentle. Waverly nodded, still not looking up. She wanted the floor to swallow her. Satisfaction settled in my chest. Not cruel, just relief. Everyone finally saw. The party slowly resumed, but the energy had shifted. People drifted to look at the album. Dad sat, flipping through it, sharing memories. Remember when you caught that huge fish? Remember your mom's smile? He kept the album close. Uncle Paul pulled me aside. You did the right thing, he said, squeezing my shoulder. Dad needed to face what he'd been allowing. Roger, Dad's friend, found me in the kitchen. He'd noticed the house felt wrong but didn't know why. Glad you spoke up, he said quietly. Some things need to be said. The party wound down. Dad found me, still holding the album. He asked if he could make copies. He wanted to put them back up. I already thought of that, I said. I went to my car, brought in a box of duplicate prints. Put them back wherever you want. Gloria saw the box. They should definitely go back up, she said, immediately apologetic. I'll help this weekend. Waverly watched from across the room, silent, defeated. Before we left, Dad pulled me into his office. Closed the door. I'm sorry, he said, tears in his eyes again. For not protecting your place. For avoiding conflict. I knew something was wrong. I was ashamed. He asked if I could forgive him. I forgive you, I said, but I need to see real action. He nodded, wiped his eyes. Promised the photos would stay up. Promised I'd be included. He squeezed my hand. I love you. I'm sorry it took me so long. I hugged him back. The tension, months of it, began to ease. The next morning, a text from Dad. A photo. 3 pictures already hung in the hallway. Over the next few days, more photos arrived. My graduation picture back on the mantel. The fishing trip in the den. My 5th birthday in the kitchen. Exactly where they used to be. But he didn't stop there. He sent pictures of new frames with recent photos of us. Dinner, a hike, a selfie from when he helped me move. He was thinking about our ongoing relationship, not just the past. I saved every picture. Something warm settled in my chest each time. 3 weeks later, Gloria texted. Coffee? Same place. She looked tired but determined. She'd been working with Waverly on boundaries, respecting family history. Progress was slow. Waverly was resistant. But Gloria wasn't giving up. Waverly was in therapy for jealousy, for feeling not enough. Gloria apologized again, said she was committed to addressing her daughter's behavior, no matter how hard. We talked for over an hour. Blended families were complicated. 3 months passed. I was back at regular Sunday dinners, with healthier boundaries. Dad made a consistent effort to include me. He asked my opinion, made space for my voice. The photos stayed up. Waverly and I weren't close, never would be. But we were civil. She didn't talk over me. I didn't feel the need to prove my place. I'd learned to advocate for myself, not wait for someone else. Speaking up wasn't cruel or selfish. It was necessary. That strength I found making the album, that was the real gift I'd given myself. Not just recognition, but the knowledge that I could stand up for what mattered, even when it was uncomfortable. I drove home from dinner that night, lighter than I'd been in years. I'd reclaimed my place, on my own terms. This whole experience really made me reflect on what it means to stand up for yourself and your family's history. Have you ever been in a situation where you had to fight to be seen or remembered? What would you have done if someone tried to erase your memories like that? Tell me in the comments below. I really want to know what you think.